Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, let's begin. So, I had a last-minute change in this presentation because of a lot of developments that we're seeing in the country today and as of last 1 week. And all of you are aware of what happened to the accused in the Hyderabad veterinarian death case? Yes? And how many of you agree in the manner in which they were killed, or the encounter rather? How many of you agree with the encounter? With a show of hands, please. All right, so I think that's about 80% of you who agree with the manner in which the 4 accused were killed. And to those of you who do not know what happened, on 27th of November, which is approximately a week and a half back, a young woman was raped and murdered. She was charred to death. She was barely 26, so somewhat my age, your age, right? In the same bracket. And it had an impact on all of us as women, and men perhaps. Women who fear for their life, their safety, and men who fear for the life and safety of the women in their life. And we were angry. And I guess that's the reason why we all agree that such men who do not respect life, who have hatred for the other gender, or any gender for that matter, should be killed, should be hanged. There's a lot of outrage, we're still angry. One woman has succumbed to her injuries in Unnao, right? Now, let me take you quickly back to 2017. In 2017, a young boy, Pradyuman Thakur, he's murdered. His throat is slit open. And there's a lot of outrage building, and I was a reporter at that point in time, and I remember covering the event very, very closely, actually going to Ryan International School in Gurugram to understand the nitty-gritties of the case. And it so happened that his father dropped him to school, 7-year-old child, second standard child, and he was dropped to school. Within a few minutes, he gets a call that your child is unwell, he's been rushed to hospital, and we realize that he's dead, he's no more. A lot of outrage building because it affects and impacts almost each of us as to how safe are our children in school. We send them to school hoping that they are safe and secure. And so we are angry. And he's the young innocent child we're talking about, and suddenly there's headline everywhere in every newspaper. And a bus conductor is then accused of killing the child. A bus conductor, a conductor who would drive children, from their homes to their schools and vice versa. And everybody's calling for that man to be lynched. How could you kill a 7-year-old baby? So the anger was palpable. Everyone was angry across the country. We wanted him murdered. We wanted him lynched. And guess what? He actually agreed to killing. He actually agreed to killing the child in pressure. So he said, yes, I killed the baby, and the details that were emerging were very gory details, that he was, indulging in some sort of sexual activity and the child noticed, or rather it was a sex attack on the child. And so a lot of, news coming in from here and there, and we all wanted this vile man to be eliminated from the face of the earth. This is the man we're talking about. Now, he deserves to be killed, right? He deserves to be encountered in the same manner. But guess what? He wasn't guilty after all. Because the moment CBI took over the investigation back in 2017 itself, after national outrage, we realized that he wasn't the man who actually killed the child. He agreed to killing the child. His confession was recorded, but he didn't actually kill the child. And that brings us to a larger question. Does every person who is under arrest, in duress, agreeing to commit a murder, actually a murderer? Between 2002 and 2008, there were approximately 400 deaths in this country. These were extrajudicial killings, by which I means that these people were encountered in the country, and we don't really know, and this is the UNHRC data, and we don't really know whether these people were actually guilty or not. So So do you really want him to be killed now? Should he be eliminated from the face of the earth? He is a father of 2 young children. He admitted, but the CBI later said it wasn't him, it was in fact another boy in the same school, an elder boy who wanted exams to be delayed, and therefore he killed the boy. This begs the larger question. Should a person be judged because they confessed to the crime when they were in police custody, in the presence of police? Or should there be a proper trial and conviction? Because that's exactly what our judiciary warrants, our system warrants, a proper trial and conviction. So now, if I let you assume for a minute that all those 4 men who actually were accused were guilty, right? Let's assume for a minute that all these 4 men who have been killed in the encounter are actually guilty. The only reason I get from youngsters as to why they should have been murdered in that manner is because it sets a precedent. It strikes fear in the heart of any culprit or any potential culprit. Anybody who's even remotely thinking of carrying out such an act. But we already have laws in this country. We have strict laws in this country. There is provision for capital punishment. Is the fear of law working? Is the fear of death working? Then why exactly were those 4 people killed? Out of anger? Because we are angry because there was public outrage? Right? Because I don't see any reason for that matter, absolutely, as per the rule book, a logical reason as to why you should kill them, because fear of law is clearly not working in this country. And just to give you an idea, between 2016 and 2017, the NCRB, which is the National Crime Records Bureau in India, releases data on crimes committed. Apart from other data it releases, there's an annual data which is released on the crimes that are committed in the country. And there has been an increased trend of crime against women, from 330,000 to about 370,000. So 50,000 crime against women increased between 2016 and 2017. And remember, that's the data we have. We don't have data for 18, 19. We're currently running 2019, ending 2019. So we don't have data for last 2 years. The only data that we have dates back to 16 and 17, and that goes on to suggest that there is an increased crime rate in this country. So fear of law is not working clearly. Then what is the way out? And that is perhaps the bigger question that we all need to ask ourselves. So let me then ask you, once again, the very question. Do you support the extrajudicial killing of the Hyderabad rape accused? Remember, not convicted. How many of you still agree? You can. No judgments. You can still agree. Disagree with me and agree on the fact that they should have been killed. None of you? So the idea here is not to change the way you think about crimes, but to start a dialogue and a conversation. What have I done in the last few minutes is to tell you how and why we need to think out of the box. Why we need to go beyond the outrage that we have, that we carry with ourselves. Think rationally, not emotionally. And that's exactly I'm trying to do here as a journalist. And since this is my story, I've worked as a TV journalist for far too long in my life. Transitioned into digital media very recently, about 6 months back. And the reason being that I wanted to do journalism that is rational. Start conversation, not change. I'm not hoping to start change here. I could, accidentally do it, but the idea here is to make you guys think beyond what is being served to you. So, journalism that is driven by solution, not by emotion. If we switch on to our television sets today, we see a lot of yelling and shouting, a lot of emotions being poured out. And you feel those emotions yourself. If you see someone crying, you feel like crying. If you see 2 people fighting, you feel the rage. But for a very long time, our TV channels, our media has exploited our emotions without giving us solutions or alternatives. They either strengthen your already existing beliefs, or they make you more emotional about a certain subject. And when I say emotional, you could, emotions from sadness to anger to happiness. But what they don't essentially do is to challenge you and to question and to start dialogue that is based on facts, not emotion. Rationality. And this is just one example of how we do it. So I'm going to give you 2 quick examples more on how do you think out of the box. And remember, this is not just the responsibility of us, the media people, it's also your responsibility. They say pen is mightier than sword, and right now all of you are in possession of that sword through social media, through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You are the opinion makers today. You have the power in you to start a dialogue, a discussion. So the onus is not just with us, it also rests with you, the people. We are trying to do it, and we are hoping that you, the people, you, the student community, will be a part of it tomorrow. Now, are you guys aware of this incident? Yes. Yeah? So here's a lady who goes on to moral police young women, shame them, call for rape. This is exactly what happened in this case. She went to a table of young girls where young girls were sitting and discussing something in a cafe, and she told them that you guys are not appropriately dressed and that you guys should be thrown out and that you guys should be raped, so on and so forth. A lot of anger again, a lot of hatred towards this woman. Right? How dare she? How dare she question women like that? A lot of you wrote to her. There was a lot of hate messages in her inbox, so much so that her daughter then went on to write that kindly stop doing it. In fact, another woman and her daughter said, it wasn't my mother looks alike, but please don't send hate messages to my mother, that's not my mother. So a lot of people were so angry that they not only started sending hate messages, but then also started reporting her profile, stood outside her house, literally harassed her, abused her for what she believes in, and clearly a very regressive mindset. We all agree on that. It was a very regressive mindset, needs to be changed. But were we changing it? Can you do or bring about any change by abusing somebody who holds a certain idea or a certain belief? Can you? No, you can't. The idea here is to hit at the mindset, not the person. Hitting at her will not change the problem, because there are thousands of men in this country who still think that women should act in a certain manner, dress in a certain manner, act in, or do certain things in a certain way which is befitting of their gender. And by hitting at this woman, we were not going to change anything. And so what we did was exactly the opposite. We actually wrote about it. And to my surprise, a lot of you guys wrote back to us, saying, yes, you're right. I mean, shaming her is not going to change anything. And you're doing exactly what she did. She shamed those women, and you're shaming her back. And that's not going to help any of us. So thinking beyond your outrage, your current existing temporary outrage, trying to find a solution to the problem. I think that's all what we need, isn't it? We're angry at the way women are treated in this country, and we want to change the way women are treated in this country. So hitting out at those men only who are, raping women or are caught in the process, are actually going through the judicial process, hitting at those men alone is not going to change anything, is it? We have to hit at the mindset. What we do need to question are the current prevailing statutes in this country. Those laws that are unwritten but are practiced by each of us in our households, our fathers, our brothers. Come back home at a certain time, go to this place, don't go to that place, act like this, talk like this. All of which have been told to us, the women. I guess this side of the room is going to agree with me on that. I think we've all gone through that, right? And so how do we bring about that change? I'm not going to give you any solutions to that. It's time for you to think about it. Because if you want to change a problem, you need to start a dialogue and a discussion and a process. And remember, once a mind is informed, it starts acting. And that's the action that we want. Moving on. Are you aware of what happened in Muzaffarpur? About 100 kids died as a result of encephalitis. Encephalitis, a very common problem in UP and Bihar. It's a disease that children usually catch, children who are below the age of 7. Now, doctors are clearly to be blamed for this. Doctors are to be blamed for this. Yes or no? Who's to be blamed for this? Management, including doctors, or the hospital management. Hospital management, right? System of the country? Absolutely. It's the system that is to be blamed for this. The average for a doctor-patient ratio, the required average, is 1 patient to 1,000, 1 doctor to 1,000 patients. In India, it's 1 doctor to 11,000 patients. In UP, it's 1 doctor to 19,000 patients. So when you see this kind of journalism, and I'm sure some of you must have seen this clip. Can we briefly play the clip? That's a very famous reporter for Hindi news channel, without naming her, because we're not here to shame her. We're here to call out the thinking process, right? So she barges in an ICU, and she starts questioning the doctor and the ward boy, and she starts taking their class. Can we fast forward a little bit, please? Okay, I think we'll stop it there. All right, you guys can go back and watch the clip in entirety. Basically, it goes on to tell you how that doctor was treated. He was not responsible for the way things turned out to be in Muzaffarpur or in Gorakhpur or anywhere in the country. It's the administration that was responsible. It's the government of the day that was responsible. So while you can find easy targets, the next man present in front of you, or whoever is present in front of you, it's the system that needs to be challenged. And that cannot happen when you question the only people who are doing their best, maybe haven't slept for days, attending to as many patients as he can. Scarcity of bed is not his problem. Scarcity of space is not his problem. His problem, rather, is the situation and the condition of the patients that was deteriorating. And mind you, as many as 100 kids died in that short duration of a month. 100 children from marginalized section of society, poorest of poor, who do not have the resources, who do not even have primary healthcare centers in UP, cannot access one. So traveled all the way to Muzaffarpur. And so we did exactly the opposite. We did a video here thanking them. And to my extreme surprise, there was an outpour of doctors writing to us, heartfelt messages saying thank you for understanding our plight. Thank you for hitting the problem at its heart. And the problem lies not with the doctors or with the management of the government hospital. It lies with the administration in the district. It lies with the government that is not providing adequate facilities. So in conclusion, we are starting a dialogue which is different from what mainstream media is doing. Is it tough? Yes, it is. Is it possible? Yes, it is. What we do essentially need right now for this country to progress is to stop, think, and act. Thanks very much. Thank you.